Welcome back. President Trump today overturned a 2009 Obama administration finding that greenhouse gas emissions are dangerous to human health and therefore can be regulated under the Clean Air Act. Forgive me. That was dubbed an endangerment finding, and under the Clean Air Act, it gave them regulatory power, giving the EPA authority to do such things as provide guidance to regulate carbon emissions. And that's been the law or the regulatory landscape for quite some time. In an exclusive interview, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin defended this move to our Weijia Jiang. Here's some of that conversation.
Are you offering complete assurance to Americans that removing this endangerment finding is not going to be detrimental to public health or the environment?
Correct. But first off, it's important to note that regardless of my opinion of that,
not opinion, but based on the data, based on the science.
Regardless of my opinion, regardless of yours, regardless of facts, I have to follow the law. And that wasn't followed for a long time by the Obama and Biden administrations. And I'm not going to get creative in trying to hoard imaginary new powers that the Clean Air Act doesn't provide. As it relates to science, here's one of the great things about us having this conversation in 2026, is that we don't have to rely on bad assumptions that were made in 2009 of where we would actually be in 2026. Now we can rely on present-day facts. And what was done in 2009 was that they didn't analyze each of these individual greenhouse gas emissions individually, and they didn't just study and utilize greenhouse gas emissions from vehicles. They added additional greenhouse gases on top of it, even if they weren't emitted from vehicles and trucks, despite the fact that this was a decision that was being made regarding vehicles. So they take all of these greenhouse gases, they don't study them individually, and then they say that it contributes, they don't say causes, it contributes to global climate change. That's not in the Clean Air Act. And how much does it contribute, one might ask? Well, they didn't say. We just know it's somewhere north of zero. And then they'll say that the global climate change endangers public health and welfare, but for many decades, that's not how the Clean Air Act was ever interpreted or applied. And get this, on top of it all, at the same time as this endangerment finding being finalized, President Obama and his allies in Congress were trying to get this into law. There was legislation to give them the power, and they couldn't get the votes. So what did they decide to do? Like, well, we'll just make it up.
Weijia Jiang joins us now from the North Lawn of the White House. Weijia, industry, particularly the auto industry, very interested in this particular deregulatory move of the Trump administration. What's been the reaction there?
Well, they are celebrating this to an extent, Major, but they're also aware that many environmental groups are going to challenge this in court. And so instead of taking any quick actions to change their entire way of manufacturing vehicles that are not electric vehicles, I think they are proceeding with caution because they want to see how this plays out in court and whether the next administration is going to also stand by what the president just did today, which was reverse not a policy, but a scientific finding that was declared under the Obama administration. And it is because that finding that there were resulting policies that will also be reversed. But again, it will be up to a new administration, a new president about whether or not to believe that scientific finding from 2009. So in terms of how quickly this could happen, even if automakers are on board with this, it's going to take time. And they point out that many consumers want electric vehicles now. And so there's a lot of things to factor in when they consider how to change their current business model. Major.
Weijia Jiang, North Lawn of the White House. Thank you so very much.